Many of you are likely familiar with the process of scouring the internet for a waifu that doesn't either wind up dead, or the same guy who stole your other 3 waifus, and I'm looking at you, every harem hero ever. I myself was partaking in this practice, all the while trying to search my soul for a reason as to why I'd been so unproductive all this time. In both regards to that question and the waifu, I came up about as empty-handed as a black voter at a Democratic election. That is not to say that all was lost. From the depths of despair, I was lifted up by a show with an intriguing concept. That show was KizNaiver. So intriguing was the concept that I completely ditched my previously planned review to do this one. KizNaiver's concept, in substantial part, centers around characters artificially sharing one another's pain as part of an experiment. More specifically, their physical pains. This is achieved by linking their bodies through some sort of unexplained technology. In addition, one of the main characters in the experiment is someone that cannot, for mysterious reasons, feel any sort of pain of his own. Going into the show was my expectation that it would either leave me as excited and blown away as a Trump supporter seeing a wall for the first time, or as disappointed as a Bernie Sanders supporter after the Democratic primaries. This begs the question, on which extreme did the show ultimately fall, or did it come up somewhere in between? Well, you could find out after this spiffy opening.
Music, 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 bass, 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 music, music, bass, 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 music, 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 bass, 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 music, bass, music, bass, music, music, bass, bass. Drop it.
Before I go any further, I would like to take a step back and look at what I felt like this show needed to achieve, or more importantly, avoid doing, in order to present an enjoyable experience. This anime could have easily tried to drag the characters to the deepest and most emo-esque pit of despair. It could have indeed went with a very dark tone. This would have left this story feeling forced, heavy-handed, and ultimately left me disconnected from both the stories and the character. Going into this was my single biggest concern, and not because I am one that dislikes such tones. In fact, one of my favorite anime, Madoka Magica, executed on such a tone to near perfection. It was simply the case that the most obvious path forward would have also been the least fulfilling. What the show needed was a natural emotional depth paired with an interesting plot or subplot. Admittedly, I was not entirely sure how this was going to be done. Luckily, the show's creator made it seem more obvious than a tsundere's love interest. Baka. KizNaiver maintains its plot largely through omission, creating a sense of mystery around both the characters and the experiments. Mix in the show's consistent stream of hints and partial revelations, and you get all the necessary elements to maintain interest for the viewer. Tone-wise, this show is an emotional roller coaster that completely delivers on everything, minus the dancing old guy to beckon you along. All of this comes together to create both a direct and an emotional messaging that really managed to define the show for me. And as a Christian, I am often asked the question, if God is so good, why is there so much suffering in the world? While not necessarily an answer to the question, the show does a good job of reminding us that bonds can be made and joys can be found through shared suffering. The difficulties that are faced by the characters serve to magnify these joys through their contrast with everything else. KizNaiver demonstrates and even mentions the importance of verbal communication in human relations. KizNaiver concludes with an ending that I cannot discuss much without spoiling the entire show. What I can say is that it ties things together and drives the message home. With this in mind, I have chosen to give the show a 5 out of 5.